That is the work of Najib.
So would it be correct for us to take your word that ECIL will be cancelled for the moment?
For the moment, yes. It will be deferred until such time when we can afford, and maybe we can reduce the cost also if we do it differently.
And just to clarify, the Chinese government agrees to this point of view.
With the Chinese government, they don't talk about the company. They talk about the government. They see our point of view. I explained to all the three leaders why we have to do this. And not one of them said no. They understand our problem. They understand why we have to reduce our debts.
So very positive response from President Xi and Premier Lee on this matter.
Yeah, both the Premier Lee as well as the President, as well as the head of their party.
And more about the two pipelines project, one in Sabah,
Same.
So it will be cancelled.
We don't find a need for those. It costs too much money, and we cannot afford it, and we have to either cancel it or defer it to a later date.
But do we have to pay compensation?
Well, if we have to pay compensation, we have to pay. This is the stupidity of the negotiation before. Why do you enter into such agreement? You pay huge compensation if you don't go ahead. There must be exit clauses in all agreements, and the exit clauses must be fair for both parties. But there, if we cancel, then we have to pay huge sums of money for the high-speed train. We have negotiated, and if we fail to do it, the amount of compensation is more than $500 million ringgit. Such stupidity has never been seen in the history of Malaysia.
So that means the ECIL, there isn't an exit clause in the agreement that they have signed. We're talking about ECIL in China.
In China, China is a contractor, and they lend the money. And we have explained to them that we cannot afford it. So we must find a way to exit this project, and at the lowest cost possible.
Lowest cost possible.
Yeah, we will have to pay compensations and all that, but this is our own people's stupidity. You can't blame the Chinese for that.
And how much compensation for ECRL?
ECRL we haven't worked out, but it will be quite substantial.
What about the pipeline?
Pipeline also we haven't worked out yet.
But money has been drawn down from this project, so will you recover the money, or what is the process like?
Yeah, we recover the money from Najib. He was the one who entered. I've never heard a contract in which you pay on time without estimating the work done. Normally we pay according to the work done. What kind of stupidity is this? To agree to pay on time without any condition that work must be done.
After your meetings, the Premier League, both countries issued a joint statement, and one of them is that investment, Malaysia welcome investment, but for mutual benefits. So meaning that from now on, investment from China will be strictly scrutinized?
Oh no, they will have to conform to our rules. I emphasize that when we come to China, we follow Chinese rule, Chinese law. When they come to Malaysia, they must follow Malaysian rules and Malaysian conditions and Malaysian law. We have no problem with foreign direct investment before, but this happened because the government of the Sri Najib overlooked all the previous practices and entered into agreement which are very detrimental to our interests.
But you still...
China
very
has always
polite.
wanted to. China has always wanted to build a railroad that link up to ASEAN. So are they still pushing for us to build? What is the stand now?
The idea of building a railway line from Kunming to Singapore was our idea. I had conveyed this to Goh Chok Tong. I have spoken to the Chinese. I have spoken to, written even to Xi Jinping, that it would be good to have a railway line connecting Malaysia, Singapore to Kunming. And because I mentioned Singapore, Goh Chok Tong was very excited. He was happy to have it. But of course, we didn't have the money, so we had to postpone. In the meantime, the Chinese had gone ahead and built a railway line from China through Laos on to Bangkok. Now, from Bangkok to Singapore, there is already a line. So we are now connected. It is, well, it is implemented by the Chinese, but originally it was our idea because we want to improve connectivity between our countries and China.
So the HSR is unnecessary.
Yeah?
The HSR, is it unnecessary for us? Or
The HSR is not necessary because it is only planned for a distance of 220 kilometers. At the speed that I travel in the train, the high-speed train here, it is 300 kilometers per hour. So it should do the distance in less than an hour. And what is the saving in time? There is no saving in time. You see, if for a high-speed rail, you need a long distance, then you save time. If you have to travel for 3 hours, where before you have to take 8 hours, then there is a saving of 5 hours. But if you have to travel from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur and save 15 minutes, you have to pay a lot of money. It would be very stupid.
You mentioned about fiscal positions. Did you actually get help from the Chinese government at the time when Malaysia government issues bonds? Would they be keen on taking up more MGS in the future?
If you issue bonds, I mean, anybody can buy. Whether it is a government or agencies or certain bodies. Because when you raise bonds, you ask some bank, like you did with Goldman Sachs, to sell the bonds, but not on the terms that you give to Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs get 10% of the money they raise. It's stupid.
So, did they actually show interest in?
No, we didn't mention that.
So any pressure from the Chinese government on the projects, like CRL, whether you have to...
No question. We only talk about the financing, not the project itself.
So previously you mentioned about financing the loans and things like that with a high interest. How are we going to rationalize all this? The payment because of high interest. How are you going
Yeah,
to...
if we can borrow money at low interest rate, it is worthwhile to borrow the low interest rate money and pay the principal or the sum borrowed in order to reduce our cost. We will still be in debt to the new lender, but although we are in debt, we are paying only a very low interest rate, and that will be a savings for us.
In one of the things you mentioned about new colonialism during the joint press statement, do you want to describe more about it, or are you saying any specific country of it?
I'm not saying about any specific country. You may remember that President Sukarno talked about new colonialism. That is using economic pressure in order to dominate. We don't want anything of that kind. Economic pressure on us will not be accepted. But it is the government of Malaysia wanting to borrow money which landed us in this difficult situation.
So you were talking about foreign direct investment. So any briefings from the Chinese government that there will be new FDI coming into Malaysia?
They seem interested in investing more in Malaysia. although the companies also, they are interested, and I think we would welcome them, but they must conform to the normal conditions for foreign direct investment.
So, your meeting with the Chinese investors, businessmen, how was the response towards you? Any issue?
Well, the Chinese investor felt worried because I took over, and the people were saying that I was anti-Chinese and all that. But I explained to them that we have to look after Malaysian interests. What we are worried about is the debt that the projects which are not viable, and the huge debts which was incurred. That is what, and they understand that. As far as being business friendly, Malaysia Incorporated and all that, I explained, it's still on. We are business friendly. Whether they are Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Germans or whatever, it doesn't matter. We are business friendly.